Hi, I'm Dan Cortopassi. In this product roundup, we're going to talk about some trains Nichole and I got to go around our Christmas tree. When it comes to holiday trains, there are sets available. This is a large-scale example that Nichole's mom gave us. This is an N-scale Kato Operation North Pole set that I reviewed here on the channel a few years ago. So getting a set has the advantage of having everything in one box, but depending on the set you buy, the individual items might not be of the best quality. You can also put together your own train and get just the items you want. That's an especially good option if you already have some trains. One thing to consider is that you don't always have to have specific holiday-themed trains. There are some trains that lend themselves well to being used at the holidays, but could be used any time of year, really. We'll take a look at some of those as well as some specific holiday-themed items and hopefully give you some inspiration that you can use to create your own holiday trains. Before we talk about the trains themselves, I want to talk about the track where they're going to be running. As we've done in years past, we've set up a temporary HO scale layout in our dining room using Kato Unitrack. Though it's not specifically a holiday train, for several years we've been using Nichole's HO scale Hogwarts Express as part of our holiday display. Unfortunately, this year the locomotive stopped running, so I wanted to try to use some other trains in its place until I can hopefully fix it. Our setup is a little different every year. This year we set up a dumbbell-shaped oval with Unitrack. To make it work, we had to use relatively sharp 21 5/8 inch radius curves. The curve size makes it impossible to run certain equipment. Long cars and big locomotives just don't do well. To keep things simple, I'm using a DC throttle to run this track. So as a lot of you probably already know, I have a lot of trains. I have a lot of super detailed diesels and weathered freight cars and such. And as much as I love them and as cool as I think they are, they don't necessarily give me the, holiday vibe I'm looking for. So sometimes I think we have different trains for different purposes. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the trains that I picked to use this year. So I really wanted to run a steam locomotive, but most of my HO scale steam locomotives are too big for the sharp curves. 484s and 482s and big boys and stuff are just not going to work in this situation. Unfortunately, I don't have that many small steam locomotives that are serviceable. My Bachmann 440 and Proto 2000 060 are both good, but they're already equipped with DCC decoders. The DCC engines will run on a DC track, but the 060 was making a noise that I didn't care for, and the 440's sound can't be turned off without some additional programming. Normally I like sound, but the constant chugging as the engine goes endlessly around the tree can get annoying. I've had this little Rivarossi 060T for a number of years. This engine hasn't been converted to DCC yet, so I put it to work pulling a train around the holiday layout, at least at first. This thing's a little champ, but it's also tiny and it can't handle too many cars at a time. After adding some more cars, I switched to one of my Athearn Genesis F units. This is another engine that hasn't yet been converted to DCC, so it works well on our DC track. It's also not a steam engine, but it still has the character we were looking for. I mean, let's face it, Santa Fe war bonnets are pretty cool, right? This 4-car set comes in a cardboard box. These are not specifically meant to be holiday cars, but they have a quaint look that fits right in with other holiday trains. These are by no means accurate models of Virginia and Truckee cars, but they are pretty nice looking. They're also short, so they have no problem going around our layout's tighter curves. Originally they came with plastic couplers. Just because I like them better, I swapped the couplers for Katie's. These cars have metal wheels that were in gauge, and all the cars are free rolling. These cars lack a lot of the little details that are on many of my other models, but as I mentioned, for a train that goes around the Christmas tree, that's actually an advantage. I don't have to worry too much about handling these cars. These cars don't have interiors or lighting. The roofs on mine are glued in place, so opening them up to install anything on the inside might be difficult. I bought this set used on eBay for $105. Each car in this 2-car set is packed in its own reusable cardboard box. Inside, a 2-piece plastic cradle protects the model. These cars are based on ACF 6,000-gallon tank cars. One is painted Christmas Cheer and the other Christmas Spirits. These cars have metal knuckle couplers and metal wheels that are in gauge. They weigh about 3 ounces each and are free rolling. These cars do have a lot of small details on them, so they are slightly fragile and should be handled with care. These are not necessarily intended for children. I'm glad to see that the railings around the dome on the top of the car appear to be made of metal, which makes them a little more durable. It looks like the plastic walkways around the tank body are solid enough that they won't be damaged when handling the cars. I got this set for $72.24 from Hiawatha Hobbies. These Katie 40-foot boxcars come in plastic reusable jewel case boxes that are taped shut. I bought 2 of these cars. The 2023 car is stenciled Letters from Santa, and the 2021 car says Merry Christmas. I get the impression that Katie releases a new one of these every year. These cars have Katie scale knuckle couplers and metal wheels that are in gauge. They weigh about 3.5 ounces each and are free rolling. Like the Broadway Limited tank cars, these boxcars have a lot of separately applied details, mostly made of plastic. They should be handled with reasonable care. Both of these cars have openable doors, which offers some fun possibilities for holiday decorating. Figures, small ornaments, or just about anything that would fit could be put inside. I paid $42.95 for the 2021 car and $43.99 for the 2023 car from Hiawatha Hobbies. Since we're using a Santa Fe locomotive, I tacked on one of my Centralia shop's Santa Fe Way cars, which is what Santa Fe called their cabooses. This car is very detailed and also should be handled with care, and it doesn't have any lighting. I've had this Bachmann excursion car for many years, and its red paint scheme blends in well with the holiday theme, even though it's not really a holiday car. This car is pretty stock, except I did change the couplers to Katie's. During the holidays, it's also common to see trains being sold as decorations. In addition to actual trains, Nichole and I got some train-themed decorations for our yard this year. The cars that came with the large-scale set I mentioned at the beginning of the program are usable on my outdoor G-scale track. The locomotive is battery-powered. It works okay, but it's not something that's really built to last, and it's also not very powerful. This year I'm using the train with one of my other G-scale locomotives. I had to put a different coupler on one of the cars to make this work so that I could connect the train to the locomotive. I reviewed this N-scale Operation North Pole set back in 2018. This is a neat little set that's both realistic and holiday themed. It represents a special scheme used by the Chicago area's metro system. So if you're thinking about putting a train around the Christmas tree and you don't already have a set for that, consider doing it yourself. I think it's a lot of fun. If you like this video, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thanks for watching.